don't ever ask, now, have you done your third initiation? So despite yourself, you did much more than that. Your worthiness and your issues of, have we got a mic? Oh, he's talking. It's unfortunate we had to break then, but I think it could well have gone on, but I think there's an order in these events. The personality doesn't always understand. People need to do whatever it is they do. The illumination with you now is quite what I would expect. And a few of you have gone into light. More and more. There is this popcorn effect with all of you. Again, we repeat. So this is the body of light that you will use whilst you're doing service on earth. Again, it would be wonderful if you would stay in these bodies and not wheel yourself out. You can talk to your soul, your higher self, your oversoul. You've made that connection with all levels of self. And you've made these connections profoundly. If you're not conscious of it, I understand there's a little interference on these tapes. The energy that's coming through is so profound that I'm so pleased that we have tapes at all. And these are the ones that I would wish that you would use and gift. And we know about duplication. And get it out. That connection which you've worked over in two series. See, Brian, he's not totally here yet. Good. Well, that's not unusual news. We're going to talk about what you did, that we're going to just simply continue. You're being asked to do so much work. And it's what's coming in, so it's felt that this vehicle, this group vehicle, can magnify the purposes that are being brought into the English language. For many, and for all of creation. This is the profoundest link from source to earth that a small group has done. And we've brought you cosmic heart to cosmic heart. I want you to realize the significance of what it is we say. You can feel it. There's so much healing, so much love expressed. Please go into where we began, to this cosmic heart. You're going to be working. Some of you are still in channel. There's some here whom I remember working with many times on earth. And when we say I, please understand that the greater I that we speak of. This lie is very puny. We magnify it here because of our disconnection. We magnify our personalities because we know not else what to do. And you've done wonderfully what had to be done, what is being done, and will continue to be done. Come back into your heart, please, this one, and have a sense of that connection. Cosmic heart. You are all birthed into one monadic vehicle. You do not have to identify correctly that monadic vehicle. That monadic vehicle is what you evolve with. But that does not suggest limitation if you do not work with other rays and other assignments, because you do. Peter, for example, worked with the second ray. He was the love wisdom, not Jesus. The reason for that has been he'd been Akhenaten, he'd been Socrates. And he was very clear. Peter was the teacher. When the overshadowing of Master Jesus took place, and that was with Maitreya, and we understand why that was done. Peter had difficulty with it, for he never felt it would work. So we've been looking at that ever since. All of you, then, are with one monadic vehicle, one ray. We've anchored that profoundly now. You see that thread that's been enlarged is becoming a very broad golden channel from your birth to your rebirthing, to the healing of denial, the healing of separation, and knowing now this is your last experience of this density. You've done your work. This is the culmination of all lives that you can view as being dense in physicality. So you might as well enjoy it. You will see many, many shifts, and you are the vanguard. No matter how lowly you feel of yourself, you are the vanguard. Anchor forever within this heart, the heart of hearts, this chain, this golden link, the microcosm of the macrocosm is not to be denied any longer. We have connected with our beginning, and you will have certain events come up for you which would refer to a sense of denial, and clear those readily, please. Go back into the cosmic heart and make that connection that you have just done. Now it's the physical nature in that which was not intended that we must look at now within this cosmic heart and heal our own creations. We've been very, very creative. but it is not part of what the God Source thought it would experience. So view the relative perfection of the Christed One, that is you, and view that it is within the confines of the cosmic heart, the center of creation. Breathe it in, gentle one. Feel that which you wish not to look at. So there is of denial, please feel. 7th and 11th ray, bring them in very positively, please. The feeling of rejection is very, very deep. Worthiness, above all, please. I validate my inner I am, for I know that on this journey I have connected with all that is. I've made that connection. I validate that connection, and I can say with all sincerity, I am that which I am. I am a full creator. And that I'm not confined to a third dimensional reality any longer. I will not allow the dictates of the subconscious mind and mass consciousness, no matter how bewildering the outer display is, in trite and trivia and negation. I will stay centered within my collective I am. This great gift that we have received, or the mantra of the Mahatma, the complete I am presence, is long overdue. For we've had a very perverse view of feminine energy. So as we look in this cosmic room, gentle ones, we address the balance, the synchronicity of Source and our own androgyny. Doesn't make us eunuchs. It makes us complete and balanced and infinitely more attractive. But we then know that we can live as our own soulmate. For the ultimate sense, this is the union. It's not provocative. It's not third dimensional. It's not excessively sensual, for it is not. And we have to say again, your 5 senses are a very unreliable barometer. We've gone through the 3 highest levels. And you're recoding now, and many of you are going into light as we discuss this. I will breathe out, please. Open yourself up to light, sound, to color, and love. and know these abilities are being recoded, and the strands are connected. And we will connect the helices with your DNA appropriately with the 12 strands and the 12 chakras and the 12 council members that are all you. So we revitalize and become whole. This healing is very profound. It's profound for all of creation, for it's long overdue. The abuses of separation on this little planet are profound and have agonized many in creation, more so Melchizedek than all others. But this little planet itself has broken away so powerfully that within this universe you have 7 billion souls that keep reincarnating. They cannot know or know not how to get off the wheel. And you're programmed to assist those. There can be no bad apples in the barrel, not in this creation. And Source does not lose. We have heard repeatedly the fall of man, the loss and recycling of souls, and the prayers that we have made. May God not take our soul. It's so utterly preposterous. It does not happen. It hasn't happened in any cosmic day. Light will always prevail. The soul is a constant. You can bury it. You can submerge it for millions of years. But it will always reflect in light, ultimately and conclusively. It becomes what it has always been, light, no matter how dark you perceive another being to be. So leave this false language out and do not buy into the preaching that suggests that everything that it doesn't teach is satanic. What a dreadful, dreadful vehicle of fear. Brian's father lived that to the death. There's one life. I've said my prayers every day. I know that I'm going to be in heaven. So he fearfully clung to the illusion of life. With hellfire everywhere, and the devil, is it any wonder people cling to life? Even those that are working with light have some fear of the transition. And we release that now in perpetuity. Breathe out the fear that transition is either painful or final, and the devil can take you, and the soul can be destroyed. Release that rubbish, for it is not true, and never was. Release that, for it's very deep in all of you. Breathe it out, gentle ones. Life is eternal for all. The soul cannot be destroyed. There is no incident in the history of this cosmic day where souls have been destroyed, even the worst among these. They have not been recycled. They have not been recycled. All this darkness has to be released. Fear is the greatest of all of these. What if? What if? And you have innumerable channels that peddle this nonsense day in and day out. Satan is everywhere except where they are. And they're the greatest perpetrators of darkness on this planet. They do not speak of light. They do not understand light. It's not a discipline that they vibrate with at all. They are simply words with less than enough energy to bring in light. And that's not what we intended. At all. So the removal of shadows, the removal of experience that you view as the past, even your finite science, physics have viewed that it cannot be a past. So living in the relative now, in this density, as you go further and further into the fourth dimension, the wonderful experience of having touched in briefly into the fifth dimension, and now all dimensions, can reconnect with oneself. And we're doing this in our thymus film, our cosmic heart in miniature. But we notice as we look around, we've done all this, and it's wonderful because this is what we know better than other levels of consciousness. We know that we are much greater, much more whole and complete than what we view in this finite carcass. But nothing that we do or see substantiates this, except for that odd moment in meditation, or we meet ourselves on the inner plane. So we touch to bliss, and we erase for a brief moment the illusion of the lower senses, of what we're told our existence is on earth. So the heart of hearts is in a corporal body. And within this corporal body, how does it function all of the time in what is ostensibly the outer self? How are we going to live in this magnificent cosmic heart the group has created in a third dimensional world? Here's where you'll have to be very, very firm, for you will see family and friends divide themselves before your eyes. And your programmable input is different than theirs, for these are decisions the soul has made. And you'll find it very, very difficult not to deal with those that are of similar vibration. And this is increasingly apparent on this little planet. So we ask that you live this electromagnetic connection, this connection that you have made with total self. And if need be, in small numbers, you'll see groups gather here and there. Some abandon their homes in what you would view as the future. Your transformation is so rampant. And your value scale becomes very, very different. Those among you will teach, and you will be patient with this, for the time will show itself. When your coding is in place, then and only then will you know your proper assignment. Do not ask the teacher what it is you to do. You will know. You will know most everything universally and some things cosmically. For we know that the DNA, the 10th ray, can code the DNA, and you can have the spiritual connection. That would be the ascension of ascensions, to take your physical body with you, if that's what you wish. The physical body in itself has no intrinsic value. Why would one do it? No. Simply to show that you can. To raise above all densities. Most of this will be done with Merkaba. But there will be a few who will do spiritual ascension, and that in itself will open the doors for all of you. The doors are being opened now for all of you. Ignite this room, light the fireplace. We have the Christ itself. We have the totality of everything that led to that expansion of source. From your beginning, it was not the Christ itself. That's what you expanded into with your own creative ability, and that's what Creator became on its outer reaches. The Christ itself. Now we have to look back at what you created in a positive sense. And we realize that this was a magnificent creation. Look at the universes as co-creators. And it's at this level that you can call yourself a full co-creator. At the Christed level. This is where the archangels become your friends, the administrators, and your companions. And this is all there for you now. If it's not there for you immediately, it's but a wink away. But in order to experience, you must sense and have some knowledge to make application. Know this. Bacon's statement that knowledge is power may be applicable, but it's been so distorted in the abuses of darkness. You need some knowledge. For without consciousness being ignited, we do not know where we go. You need to have some understanding with your consciousness what direction it is we take. And that's what you're doing. That all untruths, all areas that do not resonate in light and love, and hopefully joy on this planet of sorrow, let them fall away. And when those moments of desperate loneliness set in, please go into your cosmic room, listen to a tape, listen to your resurrection as is happening on this weekend, and know that this is your true self, and know that you can protect yourself and bring that distorted outer self within this cosmic heart. Wealth is not the problem. You can live abundantly, but you cannot have anything on you. There is the distortion. For there is nothing. The cells in our body are not owned by those that are the wealthiest among you. So you create an aristocracy that is false, do you know? That's power, a best power. And because of this, you've allowed 97 families to control all of humankind. You've become slaves, but you've done it for so long, you've long since forgotten that you're slaves. There isn't another planet that I've visited that works 9 to 5, takes a paycheck home. This is amazing entrapment. If you've done it for so long, you think it's the norm. We release that now, please. Abundance is ours simply by asking. And how do you ask? You ask knowing that you are the creator of your reality. The abundance that we have brought in for earth and all of creation this morning was done honestly, with love, and with a knowledge of what it is we're procuring. An admission that we are creator. And that's how all abundance is brought in, gentle ones. Energy. It's an exchange. You have these rights. Your politicians will continue to manipulate. Your churches will continue to manipulate. The Greys will have some say. Others will have some say. But in the ultimate sense, only light prevails. And in light you create. In light you heal. And when this coding is a little further along, you realize that you can heal yourself. You'll have teachers teach you in the interim. So this outer world is so contaminated that you believe that that's all there is. Not you necessarily, but that is the focus of humankind, is it not? The have-nots want what you have. You have what somebody else wants. Somebody else has what you want. So if you can't have a Mercedes, you steal the emblem. Look what I did, George. And we do this over and over and over again. We play into the hands of darkness. We give our power to a hierarchy that isn't a hierarchy that is a false perception. We send money to preachers. We send money to the church for some assurance that our souls will be saved. And I put that in quotes. What a great shock for those who are so misaligned that when they step through the tunnel, if that's where they go, they don't stay around this earth in what we call purgatory. And they see and look back on what they were, and they assess. Gosh, I could have done it differently. I didn't know that wasn't true. I didn't know the Pope wasn't. Really. And you will see things and feel anger. Why didn't I do it this way? How could I have possibly done it? This is not the case with this group. This is why your abundance, your soul, the light that is so persuasive now, the energy that comes through the modetic vehicle that you work with, that is so profoundly anchored on earth. This is the that man makes. Physical things that man does are his reality. And they tell you he's successful or he isn't successful. Let us release those patterns of the outer world and ignite an ignition, a fire that allows all to come into this cosmic heart. For there's no end to its expansion. There's no end to its charity or its abundance. And you magnify material abundance exactly the same way you have done work this morning. Your thought must be very clear. There can be no, I wonder if. You must magnify precisely what it is you are bringing in, see it, bring it in to the cosmic heart, know it will happen, and as we go further into the fourth and fifth dimension, manifestations are almost instantaneous. As quickly as they can be brought in, they will be brought in. But know what you're asking for. Mahatma is wonderful now that it is found to work with. For this energy will know long before you do what it is you may require. And you find then you don't need very much. You're not competing with the wealthy, for you know that they have but a wink, a couple of winks with the eyelashes, and they're gone. Life is extremely fleeting from the perspective of Source. Everything is in the now. And you can work that through. We give the analogy of a third of a second for 1,000 years from a Source perspective. From a Source perspective of cosmic days, this one cosmic day is 4.3 billion years. So everything is in the now. So as you manifest as we have this morning within light and love. You don't need to work with the elementals or disrupt anyone's integrity that is of Earth's kingdom to David. Look with light. Light is much more powerful. And see abundance around you. Do not negate it with what if. And as we said yesterday, do not discuss what it is you are bringing in with anyone. If you wish to manifest, it's a very private matter, and do not bring in the human element. But no matter how certain you are of your children and your friends, it is weakened. Exactly the same way you do not need intermediaries, whether it's Brian or Jesus or anyone else, or your cousin, to use as intermediaries to bring in light, to bring in transformational. So we look at this body now, gentlemen, and we look at this outer self and its value system. We look at this imprisonment and we say to ourselves, I release onto eternity all material manifestations that is not manifested with light. I manifest with light, with my inherent God presence. And this outer world that we live in, I wish not to agonize in the separation of my friends who have been my friends for so many years and what I am now. Or children and friends who seem to fall away, and this will become more and more accelerated. Why do I grow away from this person whom I loved? I accept my reality and truth. And the third dimensional stance of an artificial hierarchy or aristocracy, I do not accept. I accept my own abundance in light. Cosmic heart is the most wondrous thing, and Mahatma will often know your wishes, particularly now that they're balanced on earth. And it's not on earth as it is in heaven, for it's well beyond your heaven. You bring it in and let it go. If you wish to manifest whatever it is, you need not dilly-dally, you need not redefine what it is you think you want. Know what it is you want and bring it in. There can be absolutely no what if. And those who are looking for the, quote, soulmate, unquote, will have to realize that they mate with themselves before they mate with another in light. For we cannot take away from the free will of anyone. And you can talk to the soul of another being, you can address that soul and say whatever it is you wish to say. But you cannot force another being to do anything. But you can become infinitely more attractive by being balanced yourself. But the dynamics are not hysterical. But the receptive nature of your beingness is in balance. And the receptive of the dynamic is in balance. And this is all being done as we're talking to you now. Please open yourself to that. In the center of this cosmic heart, we do not divide the room to a positive and a negative any longer, or to plus and minus, good and evil, male and female. We look to an androgynous self, to a balanced self. And simply become. For the I Am is very present now within all of you. Profoundly present. Now these outer bodies, this emotional body which has created such immense entanglement, visualize again, please. You have the second chakra, the first chakra, the third, and you did some wonderful work yesterday. We have not done it that way because you can visualize neon lighting, you can visualize aqua blue, and you can see those lower chakras being cleansed. Please look to the first. And we're talking about absolute transformation, please. The first resonates so profoundly with so many of fear and deprivation. And if you look at the first chakra countries, India, China, Bangladesh, they're always the ones that have the great tragedies, the great floods, the great typhoons. America's being washed because etheric, she will not go under. Her etheric body will be washed and washed and washed. And that is fine. Do not concern yourself with that. Fear, starvation, war, deprivation, hunger, release that, please. And the primal sexual energy, you are not animal as we go into these kingdoms. So we release ourselves from the animal kingdom with the God-given agency of free will. This works very well if you go around. This is something you can relate to. It's just a drawer. No wonderful aqua blue, cleanse, please, and release those fears. We've been given free will. It's what separates us from all other creatures and all of the angelicals and the angels too. Free will, divine ordinance, God, man, human. Into the second, please. And all of these emotions, most are external, most are confused. The sexual impulses are confused emotionally. And the most dreadful of these is the fear of death. Release that, please. I refuse to be fearful of death, of the devil, of anything demonic. Life is eternal, and I know this to be so. Now that drawer to become very, very bright as you release all ambiguity, as you release all anger, please. Any sense of imprisonment, you've seen what's happened in your heart chakra. You've been able to release that into a line with a greater wholeness. Release the emotions unto all of eternity, please. I've seen the wholeness of what we've been able to create with all aspects of self. Now I release the confinement to my emotional body that has been so very confining for so very long. And the solar plexus, please, the same door. We take all of these now. The lower will, the lower mind, what you have been taught that is not necessarily correct. But we bought it hook, line, and sinker because my consciousness tells us it is so, and because our subconscious mind, the computer, tells us it is so. We do not bow and beg. We are in control. Mass consciousness is not, and the subconscious mind most certainly is not. Raise all of these three lower drawers into the cosmic realm, please. And all residual effects, please burn in the fireplace. All those effects of limitation, of being put upon, of anger, of not being free, of not being loved, of dreadful loneliness. Release these patterns now, please. Of not feeling good about oneself. Release it. We cannot carry it. Release everything into the now of our creative abilities. Let it go, gentle ones. This is the opportunity. We have all the help of creation with us now. Release all of the agony that you have carried forever, please. And let it burn away into transformational fire, into the purity of its own source. And the residue burn away. We did that very well yesterday, so there's not a great deal to do here now. Take these lower chakras in to the cosmic heart. And within this cosmic heart, breathe out through the emotional body 6 to 8 inches beyond the etheric, please. And see it as light. See it as light, gentle ones. We're only going to cover the lower ones, but for the time being, for this exercise, but look to this body as a shell, You have multiple shells. You have 4 or 5, depending on how you view yourselves. So you have the cellular body, do you not? The physical body. You have the etheric body, which covers all outer extremities of your body, your physical body. You have the emotional body, and about 1.5 feet beyond the emotional body, you have the mental body. And that is the higher mind. The lower mind is the will. The lower will is the solar plexus. So we're not dealing with that now. We worked on that, and we've done very, very well with that. And outside of that, you have the spiritual body, which we know now is not electronic, but it is made of microtron, or a blend of electron and microtron. And that is an aqua blue body. And I want us to look and to release that outer shell, that outer skin, and bring it all into our cosmic heart. The Christ itself, we brought in the primal soul, the causal body, did we not? Now that causal body is not completely brought in with our Christ itself. Look to that body that's beyond the etheric and breathe it in gently as you would. All materials, again, we cannot carry that are not a part of our true Christ itself. The emotional body is not, despite what some teachers say. The emotions and desire do not create. They generally destroy or confuse at best. Look to that and heal it, please. Heal it with a lavender, a light purple, whatever your favorite color is to heal. Go around the outside of your etheric body and heal it. Open yourself to you being very, very, very much assisted now. Open the crown so that this happens with you. And breathe in that assistance and allow yourself to be cleansed. The emotional body will reunite, be absorbed by your Christ child, by your Christ itself. For it has no place in a multi-dimensional matrix. Breathe it in, gentle ones. Look at the healing. Expand that same healing light 16 to 18 inches beyond the emotional body, please, now into the mental body. And that one travels with your Christ itself into the monad, into the oversoul, into your soul. They all merge one with the other. Same healing, please, expand it out as you would the inner egg. Look to this as the white within the yolk. Purify it, gentle one. You help. You must trust this help right now. Bring it through your feet, for the earth is very powerful, very radiant now. Yes, purify. You can feel the flame you can feel the transformational fire. Bring it in through your lower body, please, up through. Aha. And view the transformational fire. It is so light, so white, so cleansing. Oh, yeah. Oh, somebody's joining us. I think they did the right thing. And on this outer shell, view it as your spiritual body. And we'll clarify this with you. The etheric body, again, is made of which part of the atom? Of course, the electron. The electron is the light, the connection which bonds with the microtron. And this color that we bring in on the outer cell to this shell is a very aqua blue. And from the outside in now, please bring in the aqua blue color. We're all to purify and reunify with the essence that you are at source. Great charge now. Some of you are not allowing this distance. Please, as a higher vibration is coming in, allow it to be. See it through, come through the lower body and actually charge this cocoon. A lot of healing going on here. You cannot destroy or take away without a sense of emptiness. The upper part of this egg where you would crown with your brain, please look to that. And see the aqua blue color permeate this physical, etheric, emotional, mental, and spiritual body. And we realize that forever on this planet what we've called the spiritual body is been the electronic body, for we did not have proper connection to source. And again, as there was with soul, higher self, oversoul, monad, source, the undifferentiated source, there is no sense now of adjustment, for they come together brilliantly. The electron and the microtron, there is no sense of not aligning. It's a natural state. Round, around, gentle one. See where everything becomes this aqua blue. Everything becomes spiritualized, united with the Christ itself, with the spiritual, with the monad. And we admit that we're prepared to do this, to spiritualize matter. To spiritualize matter, gentle ones, cannot be done with the electron. for that electron is still atomic. And the particle, the microtron, is not. These are the two areas that must be defined, the microtron and the electron, so that they can be integrated. Very good. Right in the center now, of your sinus room. I want you to think about this often, this chain of deliverance, this chain of enlightenment. The thoughts are things now as we identify with who we are and what we wish to become, and what the world around us with this new programming will become. You can be very, very creative. Allow this to merge, this collective self, with your Christed self, please. So all strings of consciousness have come in as one at this juncture. There is a sense of wholeness, of unity. This is the most difficult for you, is this part, because it's been so misaligned for so very long. To bring it into harmony is more difficult than to bring in the source. It seems so ironic. But I'm prepared to do this. I say that unto myself. I'm prepared to unite all aspects of self with my collective self. And I breathe that in, and I see a greater wholeness within this cosmic heart, this heart of hearts. And I radiate a oneness that I have not seen before or known before, the collective oneness. All levels of consciousness within one tapestry. And I realize that I'm all these strings in this tapestry. I am not what I have been told, one or two of the strands. There's a lot of healing going on here now, because there's a merge. Allow for the merge, allow for the healing to take place, the convergence of all aspects of self to take place, please. That sense of oneness, that sense of unity, that sense of love. Now clear the collective self. Clear until it becomes whiter and whiter in this thymus room. White, 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 And there's a sense of completeness because it is in a circle, the quote mastery, the circle. I want you to view that as a single cell, please, as one cell within your body, and expand that one cell throughout this thymus zone. You bring in your thyroid, parathyroid, but everything is in there now, is it not? And I want to implant the seed of this one cell carrying the total DNA that will ignite not only the 10th ray, but will activate, as was intended, the 9th ray. Bring all aspects of self. For the purposes of this exercise, concentrate on this one cell. For the purposes of identity, this is just simply a white circle. And in this white cell, I want you to paint in the left-hand corner 2 strands of your existing DNA. On the left-hand corner, 2. Now 3. 1, 2, 3. One on top of the other. Leave them where they are. Make 4 lines of 3 strands, of 3 helices. You can view them as snail shells, for they are helices. They are spirals. Look at this very, very closely, and you realize the only 3 that have some use are on the left bank, the first bank. 1, 2, and in our view, the third. And I want to visualize that these are directly correlated with your chakras as discs, as helices, as centers of energy. Two are very active, are they not, on the left side? And we look at the others and we know they are not junk. This is not a project for the American government. This mutation is not a disease. That has been funded in ridiculous fashion. This is what you have been deprived of for the complete self over the last 250 million years. So you've been dealing with 2/12 or 3/12 of your universal potential. first two on the lower, on the left-hand side, and I'm going to include the third. The one on the bottom on the left-hand side of your 4 columns is your first chakra. The second is your emotional body. The part that science doesn't show you is your third. And this is not junk DNA, the balance of it. It is what you are now building so that you can be complete. And you need, some of you are doing this, some of you are doing it quite magnificently, actually unconsciously, for all. Because that is your inheritance. That's why you came in knowing that this was going to take place, that you could live on earth with the freedom of the knowledge of more than universality. Register very, very graphically before you go to have lunch. This alignment, please. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lines of 3 helices, and every one of these helices has a strand. And that strand attaches to a chakra, of which you have 12 universally. And we must recode these helices. We must recode and dynamically connect them with your own energy centers, which we call chakra. And know that they are not junk, they have to be reignited. And that can happen now, and will happen now, and is happening now. So for every strand of your DNA, universally you have 12. You have 12 chakras. You have 12 strands connecting to those chakras. You have 12 helices, which are identical in miniature to your chakra as a disc. And there's nothing more powerful on earth at this time than what you have gone through the last 2.5 days. Keep in mind while you walk and lunch what we will be doing when you come back. There is nothing of more significance than to be complete. You cannot be complete without the 12 helices, 12 strands connected to the chakra. And that is what is happening with humankind, at least 1,728,000. And it's wonderful news. Keep that in your heart, gentle ones, please. You've done a great, great deal of work. I know the energy moves through by and makes them very, very tired. But this will be done. Oh, where's the time? 3:30, please be in your seat, for that will be a meditation of immense importance.